It's true.
I know.
Died.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is the Hour Tour Football Podcast. I am Dana. That is Lisa. Sonia's going to join us. She's going to be a little behind. She's just getting off work at the hospital, but she swears she wants to get in on this conversation. So we're going to let her as soon as she can reach us. So that will be great. Okay, before we get started, of course, we want to thank Donkeys, our sponsor for the third season in a row. Donkeys Place Cheesesteaks is in New Jersey, 3 locations, Medford, Mount Holly, and Camden. But you can go to goldbelly.com. You can look up Donkey's Place Cheesesteaks, and they will be delivered directly to your home. It's really fun. And it comes in 24 hours, and it's packaged beautifully. It was so good, Lisa. I don't know if you've done it.
I know.
It's so good. Love it.
They're awesome.
Love it. They're so good. All right, everybody. So, weird week. It was a weird week in football, wasn't it?
Sucked.
I feel like, Lisa, I'm saying that every week right now. It's such a weird week in football. But we just went on a rant. You and I were just talking about this. We went on a rant about, we knew it's week 7. We did a whole show on how we knew exactly who everyone was now. It fell apart this week, Lisa. All of our predictions.
It's like we just need to delete that show because every single thing we said is just wrong. I mean, it was crazy. We pretty much went through teams we thought were legit. Now I'm not so sure. So it's any given Sunday is kind of how I feel about it now.
It feels like it this year, doesn't it? This year feels really like what's going to happen? Baltimore Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl. Like, who knows, right?
Hey,
like, it's just the strangest things. Yeah. It's
every week it's a different team that seems like they're going to just go and then they get uphanded. I understand it's matchups and stuff like that. And some teams are just greatly matched up with other teams. But, man, it is just so competitive, which is fun for fans because, honestly, I mean, look at the Bills, 49ers. Eagles lost to the Jets and then come back and beat the Dolphins, who everybody was like, oh, now the Dolphins are on the upset. Wow. It's just
I know. It's really like the teams at the top that we thought were at the top remember we did the show a couple weeks ago, the roller coaster teams? I feel like there's a whole list of them now. Before we were just talking about the Bills and the Cowboys, but really I'm beginning to think it's every single team at this point. It's a little strange, but I don't know. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this Niners Vikings game, and not just because our friend John is back in our comment section. John, we have missed you. It says, much like the Vikings, I am back. We are so glad that you are here. I'm sure you want to talk about that 49ers game. We're also going to talk about a couple of quarterback controversies, which really aren't controversies yet. But there's some interesting things afoot with a couple of quarterbacks that I really think that we need to kind of look at. Then we're going to talk about Mr. Billy B, Bill Belichick. Jesus. Did he actually get an extension? Did he not? What are the numbers?
We know how those extensions always
There's
work.
all kinds of interesting things about that one going on. And then we're going to talk about this week and some of the upsets that really surprised us. So that'll be a lot of fun, I think. All right. So let's talk about this 49ers Vikings game. Do you see this, Lisa?
Let's talk about the Kirk Cousins love. Let's talk about the Kirk Cousins love that you were just.
I'm going to tell you right now. I've said this to you guys in our private chat. I said it. I put it on Twitter. I will never call Kirk Cousins beige again. I swear to God, he made my whole damn weekend. Not even the Seahawks winning, which I was thrilled about. Them beating the Niners. So we're only half a game out of first. Like, I was just like, Kirk Cousins, I don't care that you wear dad clothes from Kohl's or JCPenney ever again. I will never call you beige. You're my new favorite quarterback. I just love you, Kirk Cousins. God. But honest to God, Lisa, the Vikings had a brilliant plan for the 49ers. They not completely, but they contained Bosa. They had that secondary just like losing his. This was a crazy game.
Well, they got pressure on Purdy, and I think that was the biggest thing. So when you go down the injury list for the 49ers and look at like their injuries, and there was still always a question with McCaffrey. It didn't sound like everybody was very convinced. Yeah, it didn't sound like everybody was convinced. But the blueprint for the 49ers is pretty much the same with any kind of team. You get pressure on these young quarterbacks, and they're going to make mistakes. And God, Brian Flores drew up a beautiful blueprint for that last drive, and it wasn't a prevent. It was blitzes. So I think it was kind of good. I think he had a nice game plan for that last drive to slow them down. And made a mistake, and that's all you need. You just need that quarterback to make that one mistake, and you're Johnny on the spot, and boom, there you go. So
John in our chat says it's the Flores effect. No more Dontel umbrella. Brian is bringing the thunderstorms, and I agree with that because it goes well with RMC's comment in chat. The Browns helped the Vikings with their win over San Francisco. I think it's true. Once you show in a game a team's weaknesses, they're easier to spot other issues. And I think the Browns really did that in their game. I think that they showed how to use that defense to stop them. And then the Vikings took that and took it to the next level. That'll be interesting to see how that will kind of snowball over the next couple of weeks. Now, I'm not saying San Francisco is not a good team. They are, and it's annoying to me as a Seahawks fan. But I will tell you, there was something, Lisa, and I think you'll have an opinion on this that was really interesting. It was about Brock Purdy, and you brought him up. Brock Purdy doesn't have to come from behind. He's never had to do that in his career. I mean, he had his first career loss last week. Now he's had 2 in a row. He's not had to put a game on his back. And now there's a couple of, national media members who put it out there. They're like, could that be the Achilles heel? That if they stay in front, he can keep them in front, but can he bring that winning drive at the end?
Well, I think they did the blueprint on how to kind of mess that up. I mean, you can see that anytime you got pressure on him, he kind of, rushed the throw, but when you look at him as a whole, I still think he still throws a pretty ball. He still knows this system really well.
He's super smart football. Yeah.
He is. And I think that this was just a great matchup, and he was Johnny on the spot. I just think it was a mistake. I think he'll learn from that because he still needs to, like you said, this is a come from behind. He needs to, put the team on his back and do it. And you could see the disappointment in his face, but then again, still Kyle Shanahan, still a great football team. So like I said, I think it was just kind of a good matchup for them.
And the Vikings the Vikings have taken their lumps this year, right? Like they're definitely not a team people. In fact, we talked on this show a few weeks ago about how those games that the Vikings were winning last year that were so close, but they managed to tip them over at the end. They weren't getting that this year.
Right.
It's not that they weren't in the games. They just weren't getting that end push. And yet that's what we saw. And without Justin Jefferson, without their number one player.
And that was huge. We talked about that when they lost Justin Jefferson. And on the hindsight, I want to go back to the 49ers for just a second. Also, the 49ers special teams has been atrocious the last couple of games. I mean, this kicker that they all were talking about, never missing, pretty much that's 3 points you just pretty much missed. Yeah. So, the kicking game, special teams has been huge. But they did that. I think the Vikings put a great game plan together, and they wanted that game. I mean, you could see the coach, you could see that whole thing. They really wanted that game. They really did.
Yeah. So, well, they had the entire city of Seattle behind them. So I hope they felt that love just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah. But that does bring to what we started the show with too, Lisa, is that the 49ers, who we said were dominant, I used the word dominant, right?
You did.
I did. They were dominant. And now with 2 losses in a row, it has to make you wonder a little bit. And then you turn around and the Eagles, Howie Roseman goes in, gets his new safety, and they're like, oh no, we're all in. We're going to win because now they're the only team with 1 loss left. It's just crazy. It's amazing to me. Let's talk about your Dolphins for just a minute, Lisa. I was a little surprised at what happened this weekend. And let me tell you what I was more surprised about, Lisa, is the instant turn that the media and the fan base went after them. They're like, oh great.
I'm so used to it. This is the norm for me. Because you got to understand, it's been a long time, and you have a lot of younger generation Dolphin fans. So the older kind of folks are just like, yeah, we're just going to slow the roll down a little bit. the thing is, and you can't blame the refs. There's no way a team goes through a game without a penalty. That has got to be the most asinine thing that has ever happened. And now, of course, you see all the pictures of the face mask, the holding. But you can't use an excuse. You got to go. Rex Ryan did a very good breakdown of the Dolphins and kind of what he thinks. When you look at like a Kyle Shanahan, you look like a hometown brewer, whatever you call him, hipster home brewer. When you look,
hipster
the Dolphins
home
have
brewer.
a lot of window dressing is what Rex called it. They do a lot of things up front. So I think the Buffalo Bills kind of showed everybody the blueprint there a little bit. It's like, you know what? Forget about the window dressing that you're seeing. Tyreek do this. Keep everybody in front of you. Play basics. Stay still. And I think that he's going to have to start. Mike's going to have to come up with a couple different scenarios now because people start to figure that out.
You got to shake it up.
And you got to shake it up. You can't, like Peyton Manning. Remember all the dummy calls that he would do? And then teams just started ignoring it. They just started ignoring it. And that's what they're doing with the Dolphins. They're ignoring all the little things that we shift and show this formation when it's pretty much simple. It's still just football 101.
Right.
Keep everybody in front of you, keep in your lane, do your job, and don't move. And so I kind of thought that was really good because you do see it. You saw it in the first couple games with this Dolphins. The defenses were mixed. They're trying to run after Tyreek. They're trying to figure out how to do this. If you look at Buffalo's blueprint, everybody stayed put. Nobody moved. Everybody stayed right where they were supposed to be. So, I think he'll have to shake it up a little bit. But once again, you got I'm so used to it though. It's I know it's crazy. I am. It's like I'm not even fazed by it.
I know.
I think Miami's a good football team. But like I said, show me something in November and December. That's what you got to do. You got to win.
You've
games
always
like
said that.
Those are the games you got to win. They don't. Now it's like you said. The media said they haven't won it. They haven't beat a team over 500. Easy.
So that's their next step. That's what they need to do next for sure. For sure. So a couple comments from chat. So RMC says, let me try again. San Francisco is sputtering and needs to get healthy. Lisa, what's my word? Shanahan. Those teams cannot stay healthy.
Well,
they get Shanahan.
They lost Trent Williams. I mean, so they do. Like I said, I know some injuries, and this is fine because this is where we're at. A lot of teams have injuries. This is where we're at right now. So it's going to be interesting when like the end of the year when everybody comes back, including Aaron Rodgers. So
Yep. So, and he also mentioned it says, I say he, but I don't know if you're a he. Well, anyway, to me, there are 0 dominating teams, but many teams that are playing above their means. Burt Bell would be happy. The interesting thing with that, I think that's a good point, is that's why we wait 7 games before, 6 games before we really start to kind of get through these teams. It's just taking a little bit longer this year to kind of really feel them out. And then John put in there, you don't chase a cheetah. That's right. You don't chase him.
You don't chase a cheetah, and I think he's absolutely correct. You don't, and I think teams are starting to figure that out. It's like let Tyreek come to us. We don't need to, and so Mike's going to have to, try to
do
come
something
up with
new,
some different things.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about these quarterbacks a little bit, Lisa. Your favorite subject, for sure.
Love them.
So interesting things are afoot with a couple of different teams in the NFL when it comes to their quarterbacks. Let's start first. And I was really hoping Kate was going to be able to be here today just because she would have such good insight on this. But the Deshaun Watson situation in Cleveland. So we know that he hurt his shoulder a few weeks back. It was held out a couple of games. Then the news came out that he was actually cleared 2 weeks prior before he actually came out, and they were taking it slow with him. I don't know if maybe he was still saying, I don't know, there's still something up. Don't know there. Didn't get a lot of detail, understandably so. Goes into this game, comes out, hits his head. They're like, we need to do a concussion protocol. Of course you do. Absolutely you should. He was cleared with concussion protocol and never went back into the game. Came out today that he has had another MRI on his shoulder and there's no new damage to his shoulder. So then the question comes, what the hell's going on with Deshaun Watson? Is he more hurt than they're leading on? Which would be ridiculous to me because they're starting to make him look bad if that's the case. Or is there something else brewing? PJ Walker came in, played a good game. They ended up winning by 1 point. That game went back and forth and back and forth. But it makes you wonder, at least it just seems off in Cleveland.
Yeah, and there might be a team that doesn't talk a lot about injuries. So you can say, here's our injury report, here's what we got. And there might be a lot more going on than we know. He might be uncomfortable throwing.
Sure.
They might have been comfortable with the way the game was going, even though it was a back and forth affair. I mean, I saw him on the sidelines. He was rooting. He was helping the guy out. I mean, so I don't think there's anything going on. I just think he was probably uncomfortable throwing. He probably made that clear. And I mean, do you want to go there and say he was unselfish and said that, he's the healthier quarterback, gives us the better chance to win kind of thing?
Yeah.
So at that point in juncture, I don't see anything brewing. I just feel that he was a little bit more hurt than what the team was letting everybody know. I think he probably expressed that to the coach that something was missed. He wasn't, feeling good, his shoulder, and just that PJ probably gave him a better chance to win, which in the end he did.
Yeah. The interesting thing they keep saying too is that he doesn't have the strength. His throwing strength is not there. So it's a really good point. You're going to have to think about, how much zip do you have on the ball? How quickly can you get that ball out? And so, benefit of the doubt to Deshaun Watson, which hurts me a little bit, not gonna lie.
I know it does, but
it is the fact that, maybe he did say, I'm not there yet. And now they came out and they said he's day-to-day for Seattle. And honestly, my first comment was like, really? You want them to go against Seattle, who has, one of the top 5 defenses in the league right now? Or do you want to hold him out a little bit longer till he's healthy? I don't know.
But I think they trust him enough. Dana, I think they trust him enough to say, and when you look, we've watched football a long time, when there's a discord between the quarterbacks and the team. I think he probably would have taken the approach of, if he was mad, probably just sitting on the sidelines, not talking to anybody too much, but he was too much into the game.
Okay.
He was too much. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I honestly think he just thought that he wasn't just feeling it. And like you said, I don't think he had the zip on the ball, and I think his shoulder was probably really bothering him.
Right. So John said in there, whoops, he's no Shane Blackwell. Sorry, that's funny. Maybe Cleveland is protecting his investment. That could be. I mean, they have to think long-term with him with the amount of money. And so they're like, this year the Ravens are rolling, who knows what's going to happen. But then PJ Walker came in and actually won that game, which is interesting to me. I'm wondering then if since they won that game, they're like, oh, wait a minute, we need to get Watson back in there because we're going to keep him, got to keep this rolling. Hey, look who it is. It's Sonia. Sonia is here to join us. Thank you, ma'am, for coming in so quickly after work.
No problem.
Appreciate it. So we're talking about the just weirdness in the Deshaun Watson and then not having on. But actually, we were just about to move on to what you wanted to talk today. We wanted to talk about the situation in Chicago. So Justin Fields, hurt finger. Is it broken? I can't even remember what it is. I think it was dislocated. It looked real gross at one point. And so Justin Fields sitting on the sideline. In comes Mr. Tyson Bagnet. Lisa, where'd you go to school?
Shepherd College for the Shepherd Rams.
Shepherd. Where the hell is Shepherd? And good. We need to call Emory. Emory, where's Shepherd? Emory will know. So Tyson Bagnet, and all we've heard about is his dad is an arm wrestling world champion. Congratulations, right? And came in and throttled the Raiders. Now, is that a hard job this year? I don't know, but it still was impressive, right? So they say the minute Justin can come back to the field, they're going to have him come back.
Yep.
But what if Tyson wins the next game?
That's where we have they play the Chargers next week. So that will be a very good test to see who he potentially could be. But I think right now, like they said, I don't think there is a controversy. And I think that if he does okay in this next game, at least they'll know that they'll have a solid backup. But I think as of now, Justin is their guy. But if he looks really good against the Chargers, then I think we'll have some. But everybody knows that the most popular guy is the backup quarterback. But exactly. And you look at Brock Purdy. He started off really great, and now he's starting to come back down to earth again. So will it help them win a couple more games? Probably. But will they get, their high flying? Probably not. It was against the Raiders. They did look good. but at the same time, it's the Raiders.
Right. Let me tell you, I said this to Lisa before we started the show. There's one coach that needs to be fired tomorrow, and
she does not like him.
God, I can't stand him. Can't stand him. So let's get a few more comments from everyone. Camden, quarterbacks overrated. Camden,
stop it. Stop it.
Right here.
Stop
sister.
it.
Right here.
Stop it. West Virginia. It's a public. It's a Division II public university.
Look, if she looked it up for us. Thank you, Lisa.
West Virginia.
All right, West Virginia.
The Shepherd Rams.
So John says Raiders lost to a New Orleans pastry. Oh, wait, beignet. This is what we missed about John. The dad jokes. We missed them so much. So funny. So interesting, enough. I think that if they do bring Justin Fields back in, which they will.
Yeah.
And if he does not play well, how long will it take that Chicago fan base, Lisa, to start howling for Mr. I have to look at every time, Tyson Bagnick?
I can't do it.
It is.
It would be a great story, right, for him.
Oh, yeah.
So because we love those Division II schools. I mean, they just come in there and play their hearts out. That's for sure.
Yes, they do.
I don't think it's going to be long, to be honest with you, because I don't think Justin Fields is a fit for this coaching staff. He's not their guy. Okay. I kind of feel that, I think Chicago would like him to play good. I mean, well enough to say, but he also could talk about trading him if he still does play, if Tyson plays good. Tyson plays very well against the Chargers and wins, and then Justin Fields gets healthy. We always say you don't lose your job to injury. You shouldn't. But we have seen it. We have seen it. I think that I don't think that counts anymore. You stay with the winner. You stay with the person who's winning the games. Mm-hmm. So that could clear up some stuff and make Justin, available for a trade.
Right. John agrees with you in comments. He said Field has had 4 years to show something in Chicago, but I don't think he's ever had the right coach for his skill set. We've talked about that at length. We've talked about that at length on this show about how sometimes a change of scenery and a change of coaching changes the world. And Jared Goff is the perfect example of that. And so I think that is something that, and heck, even Baker's playing well this year. Look at Gardner Minshew. I mean, there's like so many of these guys who just needed to go somewhere else and it worked out for them. So that's been really, really interesting. So we'll see. We'll have to keep an eye. I'm sure Lisa will keep an eye on these quarterbacks for you guys. You don't have to do it. She'll do it for you. Don't even, please. So let's talk about Bill Belichick. So there came out before the games this last week that Bill Belichick, there had been a lot of talk. We said, oh my God, does Bill need to retire? Is he going to get fired? What's going to happen? They look terrible. Well, two things happened. They came out and said, oh, we extended him in the offseason. He's fine. Huh? How? No one knew about it. There's no details. Apparently not even NFL.com knew about it. So then people are like, is it real? Or they just talk about it. They just went to dinner and said, hey, this is, I think, what we're going to do, sort of a thing. And if it was before the season started, has that attitude changed at all? Here's the thing. Bill Belichick is a legendary coach. He's going to go down as one of the greatest coaches of all time, without question. But Lisa, he's dying to beat Shula for that win record. So he is now third in line for most wins in the NFL, just getting his 300th win. Congratulations for that. But he's got 28 more to go, and with this team, it might take him 4 more years to do it.
At least.
It's going to be tough. Yeah, it's going to be, yeah. And I mean, his presser was awesome because they asked him about it, and they were all excited. You got your 300. He looked like he could just give a rat's ass about, he's like, I don't think about stuff like that. Oh, come on.
Bill.
What? Bill.
We know.
We know. We do know.
Wait, what happened? I missed it.
His press conference. They kept asking about his 300.
I thought something happened to your feed. I was like, wait, what happened? Did you guys freeze? What happened? So sorry. Okay. But yeah, I agree. It's interesting. I think that Bill Belichick's a really private guy. And so that makes total sense that he would keep it to himself. But the fact that there's like the NFL kept it quiet, that makes no sense. Hello, they're the biggest showboat out there, right? So it's a little surprising to me. I don't know. So I want to go back to comments really quick. RMC says the Bears and Browns have a common thread, a quarterback mess. Ask New England and Tom Brady, who he replaced the starter due to injury. That's right.
Yeah.
That's how Brady ended up starting for sure. Mm-hmm. So it was interesting.
Never look back.
No, never look. I know, right? God. Well, at least Tom Brady has said he's not coming back. That's the best part of all of it. All right, so let's look at some of these scores from this weekend, right? So normally we don't, as Lisa says, don't ever look back, but this week was nutty, right? So, Sonia, what the hell with the Lions?
Sonia.
The Lions and the Ravens. Let me tell you,
I'm never building them up again.
I am, because I think that they're going to come back strong from this, but what the hell? And the Ravens deserve a ton of credit. They looked amazing.
They do. They looked great. They looked like a team that was ready. You know what I'm saying? And not that the Lions weren't ready, but this was going to be a good test for them anyway. And I wasn't expecting them to win this game, so I'm not like horribly, but I at least expected them to kind of show us what they got.
Mm-hmm.
They were improved. And so, I mean, they're improved, but they're not there yet. You know what I'm saying? And so they just looked kind of like the Lions of old, but a little,
right.
You know, so it was just kind of like the Ravens did their thing and just annihilated them and made them look not good, but
made them look silly. Oh. Lisa, are you throwing things?
That mad?
She dropped the mic. Literally dropped the mic. Well, let me do this really quick. So we have in here, and John said in comments, he says, I've never seen Lamar Jackson look as much like a quarterback as he did on Sunday. You know, we talked earlier in the season.
John?
Well, because you know,
Come on, John. We talk about Lamar all the time.
I know. He is an amazing quarterback, but we like this new offense they have him in. We have talked about that for sure. Mm-hmm. I think that this was probably, he was able to shine because he wasn't carrying this team on his back. Like we've seen him do so many times. And I think that that was a huge part of it, was the fact that they were so far ahead and he could do what he wants, but he just looks good in this offense. And so that was very impressive. The Ravens, I said it, Sonia, before you got here, I said how wrong we've been so far. Our show last week, Lisa said we just to delete it because we were so off on it. But I think a huge part of that is like, it's going to be someone like the damn Ravens that are going to win the Super Bowl, like out of nowhere, all these powerhouse teams. And then they have come out of nowhere and look so good. We knew they were going to be good. I just don't think we thought they would be this good. So that's been really impressive. So Camden says, Dana, serious question. Has Lamar ever lost to an NFC team?
He's lost one, but because I think his record now is 16-1, but I can't.
Right. That one. Yeah, I don't remember who the one was either. It was also, probably like San Francisco.
But he also needs to win a playoff game. I mean, that's been his biggest MO. Yep. I mean, it's always, he's been a great quarterback. He gets them into the playoffs. He's got to take that extra step to cement himself. And to me, when I talk to everybody about Lamar down here, because you guys, I wanted him down here so bad. I did. I love him. I love Lamar. And I think that he needs to cement himself and get, like you said, Dana, get this team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And
that'll be huge, I think, for sure. All right. Well, let's talk about a couple of these other games that were so surprising. We already talked about the Bears-Raiders. Fire your head coach, Vegas. Fire your head coach. All right. And then we had, it was the Browns-Colts game was surprising to me because Gardner Minshew looked great and the Colts looked really good. And so that surprised me that they kept Cleveland so close. That was really good. The Patriots beat the Bills. What?
Who saw that?
I don't
understand it. I think that the Bills are the most confusing team in the league to me. I cannot figure out who they are. Sonia, who the hell are the Bills? I thought I knew.
I don't know who the Bills are. They're very inconsistent. I'm not sure why that their defense is really letting them down this year. And I think that's what it is. We all thought really but he's been kind of non-existent. Is he like he's all the way back, right? I think
Von Miller. I think this was his first game.
Yeah,
or first or second. Yeah.
But I think that's where we're having our issue with them. But I don't, because I mean Josh Allen has looked overall pretty good. He's really taken.
Oh, where'd she go?
She
Looks like
out.
we lost her. She did. You're back now. I think she
No, not really.
Yeah, she kind of froze.
A
Okay.
big old smile. Oh.
We can't hear you, honey. She can't hear. Okay, she's going to come back. So let's get to a couple comments here. Peter said Josh Allen is reversing to rookie Josh Allen. I've seen that a lot. I've seen that comment a lot. And he feels rushed.
Have you seen? This is the difference when you looked at the Josh Allen from the Dolphin game and you looked at the Josh Allen from this game. It was almost like everybody. I didn't see the game, so I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. I didn't see it. I saw like highlights of it, and from what I've seen, I kind of get the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing. He seemed like two different quarterbacks. He seemed fired up with the Dolphins. He seemed like he was ready to go. I mean, that red face, ready to go. Laid back here, they said. He just seemed like he was disinterested. Didn't seem like he had any momentum, no drive. So I didn't see any of the game. I don't know if you did, Dana. I know you said
parts of it. Yeah, I was traveling, but I did see parts of it. Yeah.
So I'm just going off of comments from Bill's Mafia. So they know their quarterback.
Yeah.
So I kind of take what they say to heart when they talk about it, and it kind of makes you wonder why. What did was he just not feeling good that day? It almost makes you wonder, because sometimes if you get up, you don't feel good, but they said he totally was like
fine. Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
I don't know.
So a couple of comments from the comment section. Camden says Pat's no defense. That's a testament to Bill Belichick being he took full advantage of the issues that he saw 100% there. And then John says, I have said this before about Josh Allen. He's super talented, but has moments that he tries to force things at the worst times. That is so true. And you can see it and you're like, why did you make that throw? Where did, you know what I mean?
So why did those throws against us? He'll make those stupid throws and he still completes them.
Well, I don't know. Because you're a divisional opponent. That's why. But, but yeah, it's so interesting. Yeah. So that game was crazy to me too. I couldn't believe it at the end when it was done. The Giants beating the Commanders.
Quarterback controversy. Who told you, Tyrod? Who told you?
Tyrod Taylor. I'm telling you, I've always been a fan of his. You guys know that.
Yes.
The interesting thing about this game to me, not necessarily is the score, 7-14, nothing that exciting, was the reaction of the Commanders after. Those players were pissed. They weren't sad. They weren't mopey. They're like, we're tired of this crap. They were, fired up, which makes me think then two things could happen. One, they're going to stop playing for that coach. Sorry, Ron. They're going to be done with you. Or two, that they're going to start to play really well. I think it's going to be one or the other. The Giants are who we think they are. They're a mid-level to lower level team.
But I don't understand why they got so upset when it's not like they've lost every single game. That's what I don't understand.
They started out 1-2, but they haven't won one since.
I understand that, but the thing about it though is with the Giants, did you expect to win with Tyrod?
With Tyrod,
Taylor's not a joke. He's not a joke quarterback. This guy's been a starter in the league, and the team plays for him. I think the team plays for him better than they do Danny Dimes, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And to me, Jones would sit on the bench until they lost.
100%. So John has a good point in comments. He says, let's not get too hyped about Tyrod. They scored 14 points. It's the Giants defense keeping them relevant. I do think their defense has a lot to do with it, but I don't even know that they're relevant. It's fascinating to me there. So yeah, we'll see what else happens. And then there's a couple other games, a couple of close ones, the Steelers over the Rams. I don't really think that surprised very many people. The Broncos beating the Packers. The Chiefs absolutely mauling the Chargers 31-17. And then we already talked about the Eagles and the Dolphins. That one was a real surprise to me. That one was definitely a real surprise to me, just because I thought that would be a really competitive game. I thought that'd be the funnest game to watch this weekend.
Well, it was tied for a little bit.
It was.
That one wasn't so bad.
At the end, it got a little yucky.
Yeah, in the end.
Yeah, for sure. So a few more comments here. John saying, well, because the Dolphins are overrated, Lisa. And he winked at you. He's just kidding. Just kidding. If Peter is still out there listening, Peter, go look up, see where Gino's sitting right now. All right. So then we have Camden. Commanders need to start playing like commies for their comrades. That's not funny. That's not. It's a little funny. It's not funny. So
I'm
then
going to
Peter
excuse myself for 1 second. I have a phone call coming in, and I have to take this.
Okay, you go right ahead. So I feel bad for the Commanders' offensive coordinator. Hopefully this doesn't ruin Eric's chances of becoming a head coach. And the reason I wanted to talk that, I think he could end up the head coach of this team before the end of the season.
I think that that's what it's going to be. That's what I think. And yeah, I think the guys, like you said, are done playing for Ron. Mm-hmm. We've done this song and dance, and it's not working. And so bringing in Eric, I think, is going to help him elevate, hopefully, to a head coach position there.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised. And I'm beginning to wonder if that's why they brought him in.
That's what
because I think that, you know, Ron has had some health issues over the last couple of years, and now this team is kind of struggling. So they brought Eric and said, if you can make them better, you get the job. And so that'll be interesting to see what will happen there. I think that he ends up the head coach in Washington. Sorry, go ahead, Lise.
Yeah, I agree. I you know what? I like Ron. I really do. And I think he's had every chance in the world given to him.
Yeah, I think so too.
And you know, like I said, it's two ways, Dana. It's like, but when you hit rock bottom, there's only one way up. You know, so
gotta dig your way out.
We'll you gotta get you out of there.
All right. So the best thing that's gonna happen this week. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
The Seahawks are wearing their throwback jerseys. I'm so excited. You cannot tell me that those are not the best throwback jerseys in the league. I mean, the creamsicles are right there. They're right there. But those Seahawks throwbacks are so pretty. I'm so excited. The press release they typed on an old typewriter. Then they have like all of their stuff. Go look at the Seahawks. It was hilarious. And they're completely redoing the field. It's going to be 1998.
That's
hopefully
so
not the record. But, you know, so
don't they look the same? It's like the same blue, and it's just
absolutely nowhere near the same. Oh my God, Camden, get her. No, yes, no, it's absolutely different. And I, who traditionally does not wear Seahawks gear on Sundays because I think it's a jinx, it's a whole thing, bought a Bobby Wagner throwback jersey, and I will be sporting that. So I hope to God we don't lose against the Browns this week.
If you lose and Camden just found this out and you wore that, you are so dead next week.
I'm done. I will never wear it again.
You are so done.
So true. All right, everybody. That's our show for this week. So we will be back again. Oh, no, we won't. That's the announcement I wanted to make. So we will not be here next week. We're going to try and record a couple little blurbs to put out, but due to it being Halloween, and I have to officiate a wedding on Halloween. Sonia has children she has to take out on Halloween. Lisa has grandkids she has to take out on Halloween. We're all so busy. It's Halloween. So we want you guys to please enjoy your holiday safely. And we will be back for sure the following Tuesday with 2 weeks worth of stuff. So it's going to be an hour-long show. So we hope you guys join us again then. Good night, everybody.